Welcome. If you're here, it's probably your first Hustle and Play, and you have a book that looks like this. And I couldn't be more honored that you chose to buy such a big, hefty book and framework. And I'm guessing somebody recommended it to you, and you want to give it a try. So I wanted to give a few tips about getting started and getting really to the why, and just set this up for your heart and your mind before you start digging into the pages. And the first reason is that we're not taught how to decipher our schedules into our values, essentially, right? We're taught from a very young age that we are to fill our schedules in a certain kind of way with a certain kind of tool, and that's very linear, right? It's from this time to that time, and we go to bed at this time and we wake up at that time. And the truth is that we're all very different, and our bodies and our brains and our hearts and our minds and our values don't work in a linear way. And so this is something to help us check in with ourselves as we are moving through our lives. And it does not mean that a bunch of things need to change. In fact, I think for the whole first year, I think if we're trying to mitigate change as much as possible, we really just want to do an assessment. We just want to try this for a while, this practice of reflecting and checking in with ourselves regularly, and then visualizing what is to come and coming back and then living that visualization, and then coming back and seeing how that went and doing it all over again. And building that rhythm for ourselves really changes the way we make decisions. It changes everything, really, but it's a very slow, little, incremental improvement in every area of our life, because it's making us be mindful and in tune with every area of our life. So thank you for joining us, and I want you to know that this, while I know it's big and it feels like homework, it's not homework, and nobody is going to come and give you a grade. And I think that you bought this with hopes of trying new things and experimenting and seeing what it's all about. And with that comes a lot of imperfection, a lot of empty pages, and that is beautiful. We love that, especially in the first year. And for most of us, when we're taking on a new skill, it's very challenging, and it can turn us off, quite frankly, and be like, oh, I can't do this. I don't have time for this. I bought this because I need more time, and it's asking time of me. And I ask you to notice those feelings if and when they come up, because it's very normal. And when that happens, to just say, oh, I'm feeling that thing that she said I was going to feel, and let it pass. See if it passes. And if and when it does, and you feel curious again about what this thing is that you bought, I hope you'll open it and start from the place that feels resonant to you. And my suggestion is from a reflection. So, for example, say you do a bunch of the early pages and you're raring to go, and you start in January, things are cool for a few weeks, and then you stop for a few weeks. My suggestion is always to just find the weekly reflection of wherever you are and answer these questions to yourself. How am I feeling? How do I want to feel? What am I proud of? What have I learned? What's going on with my play? you'll find that that regular check-in that you're doing with yourself is what intrinsically motivates you to explore further, because it is all about experimenting, trying things out, and just seeing, right? So welcome, and thank you, thank you, thank you for giving yourself this grace and giving the chance to try something new, because I really believe that if the more of us who are in tune with our values in this way, that are making real life choices with our values this way, the better we all stand to gain, right? That ripples through our families, through our communities, through our work, and in every way. If we're all just a little bit more embodied and in tune with our personal genius that we have to offer, it's immeasurable how that can ripple through the world. And that's my why. That's why I want to teach this, because I believe that we have it in us, and it really starts with making sure that we are checking in with ourselves and giving our own wisdom to ourselves before we start taking in anything from anywhere else. And so know that that is why we're doing this. This is a book full of empty pages with questions, challenging questions for you to teach yourself who you are in this moment and who you are visualizing that you want to become as we progress through life. And I will tell you that the longer you stick with it, the longer you kind of plug away, even if it feels like, we're not doing it, it feels pointless, I'm not seeing big changes, and, I haven't had big returns yet. I promise you, by the end of the year, you're going to, the book prompts you to look back at things that you said, and you will be blown away. But what is hard is letting that time pass and go slowly, and noticing that desire for bigger, faster return, is very normal, and that's very like the world that we live in. But it isn't actually how things work. That isn't how lasting, sustainable change works. What happens with that is we make really steady, slow improvement over time that's unshakable, right? We'll make these improvements in every area of our life because we're now lifting up every area of our life, and we're asking critical questions about every area of our life, and we're visualizing for every area of our life. And so there's incremental change happening as we go. And what happens with that is there's no cliff to fall off of. We're not going to get to any sort of outcome and be in danger of losing it all, because we've taught ourselves how to make steady change, how to stay steadily in tune. And that is a very powerful way to move through the world. And so I hope that you will join us in some of our community offerings, even if it's just, hanging out on Instagram and just kind of sticking with the challenge of learning this in the beginning, and know that after, a few months, it does get much easier and the meaning gets much more clear. And, by the second year, you're cruising, and you'll wonder why you ever didn't live this way. I mean, so we'll talk about years down the road another time, but for now I just want to say thank you, welcome, and I think it's going to be a beautiful year regardless of what actually happens. It's a wonderful practice to be in tune with yourself. So I look forward to connecting with you in all the ways. So thank you.